Hello, everybody. My name is Stephen D. Kelly. This is the Stephen D. Kelly Show, and we are Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. It's March 21st, 2024. It's now 6:01. Well, let's see. The title of tonight's show is Occupy the Getty and Trump. And obviously, I'm pandering to the Trumpers out there that want to know what Trump has to do with Occupy the Getty or whatever, but as I've been probably mentioning here in the last couple of shows, I think that there's definitely an effort being made to hijack this mission. And as I said in a short video that I put out there, because I was getting kind of upset about all this stuff, and I'll just sort of repeat myself with a little less anger this time. But the children that are continue to be slaves under the Getty, the human trafficking, the satanism, the cannibalism, all these things that are happening down there, the least of which is the gold that they're hoarding away from us, our wealth of the country. With Trump getting the White House back, which is pretty assuredly going to happen, the reality that those children are still under there is becoming uncomfortable. So for a little while here on the interwebs, we've been seeing the pro-Trumpers amplifying their message that the children have been rescued and the tunnels, not bunkers, but the tunnels have been cleared out. All the children returned. And don't worry, you'll never see it because it's been blown up by the white hat military. Now, as I said quite forcefully to everybody, none of that is true, obviously, because if any of these, even one of these bunkers had been cleared out, as they say, and the slaves returned and the wealth and the technology brought up to the surface, the world would be a completely different place and we wouldn't be seeing any of the bullshit that we're seeing. So I knew that the Getty will continue, the children under the Getty, the Occupy the Getty mission will continue to be a thorn in the side of the enemy, and not just the enemy, but the people behind Trump. And it's going to cause a lot of confusion and questioning, noticing amongst the people that support Trump right now, which are quite a few, of course. Now, I knew that there's no way that they could do that because my message is taking hold. My mission is growing. More and more people are becoming aware and becoming familiar with what my message, and they're not disputing it anymore. And one of the reasons why that's true, at least in my opinion, is because my ability to articulate what's going on and to present my credentials seem to be problematic. They seem to be such that it's not easy to write me off as your average wacko conspiracy theorist type person. No, it's not a conspiracy when an actual person says it's happening and claims to be a witness, giving testimony, unlike Ellie Carter. The point is that if I say it's true, then I'm either committing slander or libel against this institution and against the people that own it. Anyway, the foundation, with all its millions and billions of dollars, doesn't say anything about any of the things that I say. Every day people call the FBI, they call the Getty, they want to know what's going on, free those slaves. And of course there have been numerous articles that have come out, especially fact checker type things, which we know what those are. But this morning, it was brought to my attention that there's a relatively recent article. I think it was published March 17th. It's only the 21st right now, so it's only been a day or two. But it's coming from this thing called the Gazetteer. I don't know, it's kind of a rag. It's clickbait nonsense thing. It's all over the internet, apparently. It's on Twitter. It's all over the various different rumbles and what have you. I mean, definitely it looks like it's being allowed out there. But the thing about this Gazetteer, they call themselves Seeking the Truth, they're using a lot of half-truths, and they are definitely on board with the entire Trump thing and all the various different lies that go along with it. For instance, clearly these guys are trying to sell crypto. They're trying to con people because, if you're on my group, you're in my group on Telegram, you've probably been hit by the con men trying to sell their quantum financial system. This kind of nonsense, QFS. Well, here I look at the entry page on this Gazetteer thing, and what do I see? Jasara. Bombshell, quantum shift unleashed, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jasara are redefining financial banks are losing their grip on power. What else they got? They've got chemtrail long. They've got Obama's secret military takeover. Okay. More Wells Fargo, Nasara, Jasara. Here's a good one. Video, royal family probably killed Princess Kate. Satan's plan exposed in Hollywood. Emergency broadcast system warning. Martial law activated. Massive military strike against global corruption. Okay, military, this is a good one. Black Swan event. Benjamin Fulford. Okay, you guys, I don't really have to say this is bullshit. I'm like this one. Trump versus the deep state. Trump's secret war on the CIA and deep state. That's more and more and more bullshit. Clickbait, clickbait, big clickbait. Nasara's message to humanity. What the fuck? Chemtrail lung. Operation Border Breakdown exposing the UN globalist engineered migrant invasion. Here's another one. April 9th. Eclipse warning. Government. April 8th. Eclipse warning. Stock up on food. Insider reveals U.S. military deployment aims at depopulation and military takeover. Trust me, the military is a bunch of transgenders right now. They can't even fight Yemen. You think they're going to take on 200 million people that have more guns than they do? I don't think so. All right? They can't even arm Ukraine. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be able to take over the United States. That is a fucking joke. But anyway, what do we see here? An article about the Getty Museum. What does it say? Well, it's got the average pictures. It's got a couple of pictures from me, various different things. They dressed it up a little bit. It says Getty Museum, a pedophile fortress with 12-plus underground floors housing 2 million women and children for satanic rituals amidst elite corruption. Now, we've heard this before with other people come out and come up with this crap about 2 million people. I never said 2 million. I said 100,000 children. I never said 2 million. Well, let me click on this article. Now, I don't want you to go to this damn page. I mean, Seeking Truth, obviously it's bullshit, and I'll get to my final conclusions, but all throughout we see Nasara, Jasara, Donald Trump. Here's a picture of Donald Trump's divine arsenal unleashing a powerful prayer to crush the satanic cabal and make America great again. It's got Trump praying, never mind that Trump's a Chabad Jew. Anyway, okay, so we're going to read this article here a little bit because, well, some of the stuff they say is actually pretty good, but then they get into all this other bullshit. Now, you got to remember, this enemy, obviously these are guys that are trying to make money, and I think we know who this enemy is, but they're trying to own both sides of the issue. On one side, they're trying to say that it's gone, the white hat saved it, and over here they're trying to get you all excited and say that it's happening. So let's see what they say. By the way, I got these new glasses today, and it's pretty difficult. I have to go. It's never mind. But at least I can see distances and stuff pretty good now. But it's a really pain looking at a computer screen. Anyway, but I can read a book. Isn't that something? I can actually read a book now. Probably should have got the bifocals and not the progressives. Okay, here, let's read this article. All right, it starts out with bold font. Los Angeles, Getty Museum, a beacon of culture and art, stands accused of masking a sinister underbelly, a revelation so explosive it shatters the veneer of the elite's untouchable sanctity. I would say sanctuary. I think that's a poor use of the word there. Stephen D. Kelly, once an insider, now turned whistleblower, rips the curtain back on this charade, exposing the depth of depravity that the global elite will sink to, all beneath the guise of philanthropy and public service. His accusations, nothing less than a vast... His accusations, question mark, okay, weird writing here, nothing less than a vast underground of opulence and horror directly underneath one of LA's most visited landmarks. Actually, guys, it's underneath the entire LA. Okay. Kelly, with his credentials as an electro-optical engineer and his background in the CIA, NSA, isn't some off-the-cuff alarmist. He's a man who's seen behind the veil, who had enough of the shadow play and decided to blow the whistle loud and clear. Wow, the drama is really something. According to him, the Getty isn't just a museum, it's the entrance to hell itself, a sophisticated hideout for the most vile rituals imaginable. Imagine, if you will, an elevator ride, not to enlightenment or cultural edification, but descending into a domain of decadence and darkness. Kelly paints a picture of the lavish spa that would put Roman emperors to shame, sitting on top a dungeon where the elite indulge in satanic rituals. Here in the bowels of earth, missing children and the homeless aren't just statistics, they're fodder for the unspeakable. This isn't hyperbole. It's a calculated accusation against those who've long believed themselves above reproach, hiding behind the ostentatious walls of the Getty, the museum's impenetrable defenses, its secretive corridors leading to an underground network of luxury and torment, all of it masterminded by what Kelly calls the cavers, elites ensnared in intergenerational Satanism. Well, that's pretty true so far, just a little dramatic. Kelly's revelations about the networks of DUMBs, deep underground military bases linked by supersonic maglev trains, extend beyond mere conspiracy. They're a testament to a horrifying parallel reality where the elite not only engage in but celebrate atrocities, shielded by their wealth and the complicit silence of their peers. This underground labyrinth isn't just for show. It's the heart of their power, their sanctum from where they pull the strings. This is true. To think the Getty, with its art collections and architectural marvels, is nothing but a fortress concealing these depths of human depravity is to confront a truth so disturbing it would make even the staunchest skeptics pause. Kelly's claims of satanic dungeons and ritual sacrifices beneath the museum challenge our understanding of power, privilege, and perversion. He's using the threes there. That's great. 3 Ps. That's magic. What's even more damning is the network's alleged purpose. Not just a haven for the depraved, but a stronghold against any who would dare challenge the status quo. The mention of protocols of Zion and the Metropolitans is not just a nod to historical conspiracies, it's a declaration that the shadows have depth, and within them lurk not just monsters, but architects of a world order bent on maintaining their dominance at any cost. That's pretty true. He's just, not saying certain things. Kelly, with a clarity that pierces through the art world's meticulously curated facade, exposes the Getty not as a sanctuary of culture, but as a fortress of depravity. I don't know, that sounds kind of redundant. This is no mere repository of art. It's an ark designed for the so-called royalties to survive the apocalypse, devoid of any legitimate need for the military-grade security that cloaks other sites of power under the guise of national security. A key word here, continuity of government. Yet here lies the paradox. The Getty, approachable and serene, harbors a capability for violence against any who dare to challenge its true purpose, which is true. The museum's architecture, with its absurdly fortified turret facing the beating heart of Los Angeles, is not a whimsical design choice. It's a declaration of power and potential harbinger of destruction masquerading as an art piece. What madness is it to suggest that this structure, so out of place, is anything but a veiled threat or a monstrous folly? The Getty, according to Kelly, is the epitome of this hidden world, a surface-level paradise built atop an underworld of horror. the so-called advancements of our society, the evolution from feudal to modernity, are but a smokescreen for the slavery that thrives in the shadows, now more insidious because it hides in plain sight. Now, this is where it gets a little wrong. Kelly's call to arms with Occupy the Getty is not a plea for negotiation, but a demand for revolution. Yeah, I never said that. This is not the disorganized outcry of a disenfranchised few, but a strategic strike against the heart of a corrupt empire. Technically, that's true, but this is a non-violent method. The demand is clear and non-negotiable. Free the children. That's true. The audacity of this claim that beneath the polished floors of the Getty lie captives, children ensnared in the web of elite depravity, demands attention not because it's unthinkable, but because it rings terrifyingly plausible in an era rife with revelations of the elite's transgressions. This is not an invitation to dialogue. It's a battle cry against a fortress. Again, don't use words like battle. That until now has stood unchallenged, cloaked in the legitimacy conferred by art and culture. The Getty, as portrayed by Kelley, is not just a museum, but a stronghold of the most vile indulgences where the powerful indulge their darkest desires, shielded by wealth and influence. In the face of such allegations, silence is complicity. The Getty's serene exterior belies the storm Kelley insists rages beneath. The Occupy the Getty movement, bingo, the hashtag Occupy the Getty movement seems not just to shine light on these shadows, but to tear down the walls that protect them. This is a declaration of war against not just a museum, but against a culture of elitism that believes it can operate with impunity beyond the reach of morality and law. Kelley's narrative, raw and unfiltered, stands not as conjecture, but as a testament to a truth too long obscured by the artifice of civilization. The Getty in all its grandeur is laid bare as a citadel of secrets, a challenge to the very ideals of justice and transparency we purport to hold dear. The time for polite discourse has passed. The battle lines are drawn, and the siege has begun. The world watches, waiting to see if the fortress will crumble. No, we do not crumble the fortress, exposing the darkness within, or if the guardians of these secrets will muster a defense against the rising tide of outrage. This is no conspiracy. This is a reckoning. The Getty, for all its artistic treasures, may well house the most damning of humanity's sins. Kelley's crusade against it is not just a quest for the truth, but a fight for the soul of a society long enthralled by the allure of power and prestige. That's pretty true. The Occupy the Getty movement is not just a protest. It is a war cry for the voiceless, a challenge to the fortress, and the demand for justice that will not be silenced. Whew! All right. Now, I'm just going to throw this at you here, but the guy that wrote this his name is Ethan White, okay? And I'm looking at his picture right now, and I got to tell you, he looks Jewish, okay? I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I'm just saying, we know that every side of every issue is, well, let's just say there's an attempt to manage it. It says that right there in the protocols. Now, like I said, at the very least, aside from the warfare and the anger, because, he didn't say anything about Occupy the Getty being a peaceful movement. I am not trying to turn the mob to go over there and trash the Getty and crumble the structure. That's the last thing I'm trying to do. So I think any of you that know me or any of you that have been to listen to my lectures or been to my groups know that I don't do that. Okay? We are not wrestling against flesh and blood. But anyway, the bottom line is that this is a pretty massive thing. And like I said, this article came out. Let's see, when did he put it out? It doesn't really say. Let's see. Maybe it's at the bottom, perhaps. Yeah, there's no real date as when exactly this came out. Can't tell. Hidden agenda. All right. Well, anyway, if you join my group, of course, you can see this. I posted it on Twitter, and I've got it in our Telegram group. And obviously, this guy is trying to get people to join all his pages. He's on Facebook. He's on Twitter. He's on Instagram. He's on all kinds of these silly things. And on, and I don't know what. See, there's WhatsApp. He's got Telegram. What is this one? Getter. I don't know whatever Getter is. That's another one. Huh. But he's on Facebook. That should tell you something. How is this guy on Facebook? Probably because he doesn't say the word Jew. But he's got the protocols of the learned elders of Zion in here, almost. So, near as I can tell, at least as far as it appears to me, is that they're trying to make us look either stupid or violent, or they're trying to get people that are trying to follow this mission or should be angry about what's going on. They're trying to get them to do something stupid and to follow their lead and not mine directly, which is obviously something that we have to do. And they're putting themselves out by using this story, which, near as I can tell, aside from the minor issues in the beginning, is pretty accurate. So when you take this story, which is very accurate, you mix it with all this other nonsense, which is of clear BS, like the story about Trump's divine arsenal and all this crap. I mean, come on, Trump praying to crush Satan? My God. I mean, talk about clueless. So basically, at the very least, they're using this in two ways. By trying to say that children have been rescued, they're trying to remove any liability for the 4 years that Trump was in office where he did not rescue these children, because obviously it didn't end with Trump and start back up again with Biden. Nothing changed. Nothing skipped a beat down there. But this time around, our movement is a lot stronger. Elon Musk has got me on Twitter. The Russians created Telegram, and obviously that's not something that the USA can get rid of. I mean, they're working really hard to get rid of TikTok, and I'm sure they'll work really hard to get rid of Telegram too and put a lot of pressure on Elon. But in the meantime, more and more people are hearing this story and are seeing my name. They're seeing Occupy the Getty, and certainly we would expect as more people hear about this article here that they're going to be doing a little bit of research and hopefully finding their way to our material and not continuing to get exposed to this other nonsense. So what does that have to do with Trump? Well, here's the thing, which I got to tell you. I mean, I'll just repeat myself, but sure. When Trump took office, I had every hope that he would go down there and he would actually clean out the bunkers and he would end that. I actually was so naive that I actually thought that right after he took office, he'd get exposed to all this stuff. And he did. They took him down there. They showed it all to him. And what did he do? Well, he shut down my Getty petition. And then he started talking about all the gold and how we're going to go on a gold standard and how we're going to start a new military branch called the Space Force and how we've got secret Space Force down there. Like it was a big secret. He was leaking a secret. He's so good at that. Well, obviously, yeah, there's a secret Space Force down there, and there's a lot of gold down there too. But there's a lot of slaves, and there's a lot of technology that we should have on the surface. And there's more money down there than exists on the entire surface. Incredible amounts more than exists on the entire surface. So it appears to me that this seems to be a very big weakness. And I think that the very fact that these guys are using my name so extensively means that they've pretty much given up on trying to, discredit me. I think the only way they can discredit me now is to put my entire story out there in all its accuracy, but put it up there right next to a bunch of actual bullshit like this quantum financial crap and this Nasara and Jasara bullshit that Donald Trump actually prays. Come on. I'm sorry, but he's not a Christian. All right, he doesn't pray to fight Satan. He actually worships Satan. I'm sorry, people. It's like this is not about Trump, but the bottom line is the closer he gets to taking office, the more of a problem the Occupy the Getty mission is going to be, because everything that we're saying right now will not change the day after he takes office. Only this time when he takes office, I have no expectation that he's going to do anything. So in other words, the enemy, the person in the White House, is still in charge of the enemy. The very same government that built the bunkers, kidnapped the children. I mean, come on. The whole purpose of these bunkers is to preserve the lives of the people in government. Where does that leave you and me? Where does that leave the victims? Where does that leave the children down there? What are the children doing down there? They are for the government to enjoy, to be the slaves. There's nothing good that you can say about the government, no matter who takes over. And even if Trump were to take over and start passing out cookies and say it's Nasara, it wouldn't be true. It wouldn't be real. It's all bullshit. It's just like the people that went and bought all those damn Trump coins, Trump bucks. You know, where are all the people saying, hey, how come my Trump bucks haven't made me $100,000 yet? How come I'm not rich? Your people, you think when Trump comes back into office that something's going to change. No. The only thing it's going to do is it's going to buy the enemy some time, because it's giving you all hope that something is going to happen. But you know, they're not even trying to do that anymore. Now they're trying to go and turn us into all-out violence, and they're trying to take violent people that want to revolt against this museum. They're actually trying to get people to attack this museum, like the militia is going to go down there and lay siege to it. It's insane. And I'll just say again that, yeah, we want to surround this place. We want to have hundreds of thousands, at least tens of thousands of people working to expose this thing, to get on TV, to force the media to look at what we're saying. But at the same time, all you people out there that are going to be involved have to realize that this is a war, and you aren't an army, and you have orders, and your orders are to keep your mouth shut. And if you say anything, it will be only what you're told to say. It has to be that way. If you don't hoist me up there, we're screwed. Okay, that's the only way this is going to happen. I mean, you know, it's like this guy said, whatever. Well, no one else is doing it, okay? You know, if someone else was doing this, then we could all work together. But the bottom line is that we know that the only way this thing is going to end, and the only way that they're going to be able to be defeated, is to have to face me. So if we get a whole bunch of people involved, you guys have got to prop me up. You've got to be behind me. You've got to be working and doing the things that I want you to do, not listening to idiots that are trying to send you off and make you attack this thing in some sort of violent manner and make it crumble. No, you can't make this thing crumble. Are you kidding me? Jeez. What is it, Gaza? We're going to drop 500-pound bombs and 1,500-pound bombs on this thing, JDAMs? Yeah, maybe some JDAMs might make that thing crumble up a bit. But come on, you know? I mean, it is a fortress. We're not going to destroy it. It's ours. We own it. We're going to take it. We're going to own it. That art, it's our art. That gold down there, that's our gold. We paid for all of that. So anyway, we're not going to rescue anything with violence. It's just the bottom line. So what do they got left? They're going to lie and say it's been cleaned. They're going to prop it up there and try to make everyone that believes there is children down there trying to turn them into violent revolutionaries. And of course, they're working as hard as they can to start this World War III that seems to be boiling. Boy, I swear, you know, Putin got reelected, and of course the United States say that it's sham election and all that. It's so bad. I mean, the so-called West, our vaunted military and all that, it's so bad. It's so bad. The Western dollar is destroyed. The military system that we have is destroyed. We've completely destroyed Europe. We've turned Germany into practically a third world country. England, I mean, my God, England is not even a white country anymore. It's funny as well. It's not funny at all, but we know why this is. And unfortunately, it's just like the border crisis that's going on here in this country. They're trying as hard as they can to cause civil war, to cause insurrection. Now, they don't have the guns like we do over there in Europe. If they did, I'm sure things would be quite a bit different. But hell, in Britain, they'll throw you in jail for a meme. There's a minister of parliament, I guess, over in Netherlands, who was actually thrown in jail for a year because of a meme someone else posted in a group that he belonged to. You know, I'm sure it was probably some anti-Arab thing or who knows what, anti-immigrant thing, but they threw that guy in jail. This guy's a sitting member of their government over there, and they threw him in jail for something on social media. Now, me personally, I kind of think that is a really big clue that people in Europe have completely lost their balls. I got a feeling there's no more men over there. It's really amazing, especially when you consider that these same people are threatening Russia. France, well, Macron, you know, he posted some pictures of him boxing, and he's threatening. I mean, you know, I told you last week, I said that he says, I'm the president, everyone's got to do what I say, and but at the same time now he's starting to back off. He's saying, well, we're gonna send in troops and all that. We're gonna create a buffer line or some sort of a red line. But they still expect the United States is somehow going to get involved. I mean, it's incredible. Obviously, the United States isn't going to do anything. We don't have air support. We don't have any kind of means of protecting our jets anymore. It's pretty insane. Anyway, I don't want to waste too much time on that, but I'd like to think that it's all going to be better, but at the same time, I got to tell you, Putin, he's going to let us destroy ourselves. You know, we don't have to worry about him attacking Europe. Europe is already destroying itself. We don't have to worry about him nuking the United States because we're doing it to ourselves. and as long as we have these people, you know, I mean, come on, guys, Biden and Trump, sure, they're both extremes. You can only imagine what's going to happen when Trump gets in there. I mean, I know he's going to be in there, but when you don't have an enemy in office, it really confuses things. So what's going to happen is that if you're a Trump supporter, you're either going to wake up after he gets in there and change because suddenly nothing will happen, or you're going to get whipped up into some sort of a racist Civil War type situation. Either way, I don't see how it can be avoided, especially with what's going on in Israel and Gaza. Jared Kushner comes out and says he can't understand why the United States isn't doing more to try to bring in 1 million refugees from Gaza. You know, he thinks that we should actually be helping to resettle the people from Gaza here into the United States so that Israel can have this real estate clear of all the humans that live there. You guys even imagine what that means? I mean, seriously, Israel actually thinks that they're going to be able to depopulate this entire segment of land, this whatever it is, so many square miles, of its 2 million population, what's left of it, to someplace else. And then turn that into Israel proper, you know, with new seaside developments, etc. Now, just imagine if you're living in the West Bank, and you're the people that are living in the West Bank. You're unlike Gaza. Gaza didn't have any Israelis living inside of Gaza, but in the West Bank, the Palestinian population in the West Bank, they've got to live side by side with these invaders and these settlers and these people that subject them to all sorts of continuous cruelty. How long do you think that's going to last? You don't even talk about it now. We talk about Gaza, but we don't talk about the West Bank. How hard will it be for them to basically encroach and kill off whatever is left in the West Bank? We don't even talk about the population in the West Bank. It's pretty incredible. That'll be the new thing. Once Gaza's been cleaned out, they'll say, oh, now we have to worry about the West Bank. It's incredible. Anyway, I don't see this continuing very long. I don't think that the media is going to be able to control the hatred that's being generated by this campaign, this genocide. And sooner or later, and I'm pretty sure it's going to happen sooner, people are going to realize that Trump isn't just a man that seems to have a inordinate support for Israel. I mean, it's kind of crazy the way one day, he accuses Biden of being anti-Israel, and at the same time people accuse him. What did he say? He said, if you're a Jew and you vote for the Democrats, you're a bad Jew, or you're not a real Jew, or something stupid like this. It's incredible. When is he going to come out and admit to everybody that he is actually a Jew? His entire family has always been Jewish. He's not just a Jew, but he's a Chabad Jew. And the more they try to censor and remove people for talking about this stuff, and the word Khazarian mafia, we're not supposed to say that. You can be removed for that now because it's supposedly hateful. It's getting really too clear. And either the people in the United States or the so-called West are going to wake up to this reality and get with the program, or we're just going to die off. And that's really what's happening. And as far as I'm concerned, from what I can see going on in Russia, everything about that country they hate. Obviously, they hate it because it's standing in the place of the former Khazar kingdom. They hate that. They certainly hate that. But they don't just hate that. They hate the white people in general. And Russia is booming. I'll tell you, there was a time when Russia was struggling with its population, and the birth rate was down. Russia's population and birth rate are climbing. Ours is going down. And where is it going up? It's going up from the non-white people. And again, this is not the issue here, but the point is that why do they hate Russia? It's because it's a Slavic population that's increasing. It's kind of telling. The family values that Russia holds dear are being attacked as racist and Nazi. It's pretty crazy, and I think that people are waking up to this. So they sure still look like the heroes to me, and the very fact that they're Christian and religious, their army has pictures of Jesus on their helmets. How are you gonna beat that? I'm sorry, but you can't. And I'll tell you something else. The United States is never going to be able to catch up or compete again on the world stage for the one reason, and that is we're not graduating engineers. Being intelligent is not hip. Going to school is not hip. Studying math is not hip. Calculus, that's for nerds. Physics, nerds. Engineering, nerds. We have no engineers. You cannot build factories without engineers. You can't run factories without engineers. You can't design, create, and invent products without engineers. What are we doing? We're importing engineers from where? India, China, Iran, other countries. We don't have any. They want to increase their military production. How are you going to do that without engineers? How long does it take to graduate an engineer? How long does it take to convince the students in our country that twerking and rap music isn't where it's at, but calculus and engineering is what you should be focusing on? Where's that going to come from? We make fun of the Chinese for having the parents that want their children all to grow up to be doctors and engineers and professionals. We think that's somehow wrong for not letting the children have their freedom to decide who they are, what sex they are, and where they rest in the political spectrum, which we know where that is. But Russia has no problem creating engineers. China, they have more engineers they know what to do with. Japan, well, they've got their own issues. India, lots of them. Hell, even Iran is probably graduating more engineers than we have. The future does not belong to the country that doesn't learn math. You can't be bringing these people in from other countries and thinking that's somehow filling the void. The people that live here need to be intelligent. All those people flooding over the border, they're not engineers. They're not in graduate school. They're not college graduates. They're not even high school graduates. They're violent criminals for the most part. They are the dregs of the earth. Is that our fault? No. Maybe it is. Maybe we're just getting karma for all the bad things that we did over the 100 or however many years this country's been around. Anyway, not going to be here much longer. But like I said, though, we can still save the children. We can still rescue the technology, the wealth, all that. We can repatriate it to the surface of the earth. And we can use that power to hopefully change the culture of this country. Now, perhaps, if we can use it in such a way to, well, convince the rest of the world to comply, because obviously that's going to be necessary, we won't have a problem. But either way, no matter how bad things get, it's engineered to kill us all, and we know that the enemy is going to be hiding under these bunkers. So, I'm sorry for the diatribe. I know I went off in a couple of different directions, but sooner or later, the Trump crowd is going to wake up. Sooner or later. Obviously, we have to keep working on this, because if we weren't doing something right, we wouldn't be seeing things like this article here in the Gazetteer. So this is your opportunity to get out there and work a little bit harder and show people that we're not about crypto, we're not about Jasara, we're not about any of this crap, and we're certainly not about this fear porn. But we do have a mission, and it's very clear. And we do have leadership, and that leadership, of course, is Jesus. And Jesus would not want us forming a mob and forcing that building to crumble. We're not going to go into that kind of war. This is a spiritual war, but it's also a psychological war. It's a war for the hearts and minds of the people of Earth. We're not trying to kill those people. We're trying to win over their hearts and minds. All right? Very, very important that we make sure that the people that are becoming aware of our truth know that we don't have anything to do with this violent talk. Otherwise, I'll say that this particular article, even though the wording was a little bit on the dramatic side, I'd say it's definitely going to help us. But we need to get out there, and we need to make sure that our mission and our message is not polluted by this stuff. And we're going to have to work extra hard to make sure that people don't think that we have any support for this Jasara crypto bullshit. Very important. Okay? All right, everybody, I want to thank you for being here. I see a lot of you have stayed here. By the way, I know a lot of people have been trying to save up some money to go to the event, which is I'm really happy that so many of you are going to the event in LA at biomedexpo.com, April 14th through 16th. And I know there's still some people that are wanting to get out there, but at the same time, I got to remind you that I still have to pay my bills. And I don't want you to forget, if you are able to help out, to please do. And if it's a big sacrifice and you're going to suffer for it, don't do it. I don't want you to suffer. but I do need continuous help, and of course that's occupied. Oh no, that's the PayPal. The PayPal is Stephen Kelly 714 at yahoo.com, and you got to say friend or family, or I do have to send it back. So hopefully some more donations will come in here real soon because, well, I'm kind of plowing through what I got, my little kitty, so to speak. All right. Anyway, like I said, though, I am looking forward to the event, and it's coming up pretty soon here. It's only, a couple of weeks away, 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys there. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on Twitter and in my group, the Telegram group, which is Occupy the Getty / Stephen D. Kelly. And of course, if you need any healing or anything like that whatsoever, please email me at law17gun@aol.com, LAW17GUN at AOL.com. All right. All right. Thank you so much for being here. And I guess I'll look real quick to see if I see any familiar faces. Let's see. Germany's in the house, of course. Thank you, Germany. Boise, Idaho. We're seeing you a lot. Netherlands. Hey, I know who that is. Hey, Wooder. How you doing? Okay, guys. Tampa, Florida. Hello. Oh, we have an unknown in the house. Interesting. He's only been here a while. All right, guys. I'll see you real soon. And like I said, don't be afraid to email me, okay? So if you need to talk to me at all for anything, please send me an email, all right? Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to say good night. Oh, let me start out. Let me do it right. Good night. God bless. Adios. And goodbye.